Let's see if I can get this done while my son naps. One can dream. Believe in the fairies that make dreams come true. Believe in the wonder of the stars and the moon. Believe in the magic from the fairies above. They dance on flowers and sing songs of love. You believe and always stay true. The fairies will be there to watch over you. That was a quote that I had on my bedroom wall growing up in my childhood bedroom. The topic for today is about getting in touch with that inner maiden. This is a phase that as women we go through on our 4-week cycle. I started this because I got in touch with my own moon cycle and it's changed my life. Our society is built on the very masculine 24-hour cycle, which is awesome for getting things done, but it's not really in sync with our natural rhythms as a woman. Now, if you are not a woman or you don't identify, however you identify, gender doesn't really matter. I think anyone can get something from this video if you were brought to it. I'm sure there's a reason. Without further ado, let's just jump right in. When you are finished with your moon each month, you then transition into what I like to refer to as the maiden phase. This is a good time for creative projects, new beginnings, fresh starts, and it's also, on a spiritual sense, a way for us to connect deeper with our inner child. And the maiden is really good for accessing that part of ourselves that a lot of times we push aside and leave for last. And if we keep doing that, she's probably going to come out with a big fit. I meditated with my little inner maiden before this, so I had to make notes. She was so excited, which you could probably feel through this video. A few things. She wanted to use the fairy card. She wanted me to read the poem to you. She wanted me to bring up my friend. I wanted to talk about my little baby Artie. Also, she gave me some crystals to tap into that might help you. I decided to pull an oracle card because we're talking about the inner child. I wanted to tap into some fairy elemental energy. I feel like fairies, anything magical really can access that lost part of yourself. When I tap into it, I'm telling you, it's always this lighthearted energy in my heart space. That's where I feel it. It could be different for you, but that's where I know that I am ready for. So let's just go ahead and pull a card and see what the inner maiden wants to tell us today for this particular video. Ooh, longevity, relish, persistence, everlasting. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Longevity. Wow, what an interesting card to pull. So let me just meditate a second on that. I'm going to go into why we would pull that for today. 333. So what comes to me is that there is eternal wisdom with your inner child and with the maiden spirit. So whether you're male or female, we all have masculine, feminine energies within us. It's a balance, right? And maybe this is just so you can support the women in your life as well. With the maiden, it's important, you know, there's wisdom in honoring our inner child spirit, and the maiden is showing me that there's wisdom in that. You know, you would think that your adult self is the wise one, but this is an eternal energy of coming back to a youthful mentality of why you started in the first place. That's what's coming to me with the persistence. And so if you get a little bit lost on your way sometimes, or things get a little too heavy, or it gets a bit burdensome, or you're just a bit too in your logical, you can always call on the maiden, or use this time to kick off creative projects or things that you want to start, or you want a new beginning, right? It's good to be mature. You don't have to be immature, but you can always and forever be young at heart. So today I'm using my unicorn mug. Another wonderful elemental spirit you can tap into is a unicorn. Mermaids are coming to me. You can think about when you were a kid. What did you love to do for free and for fun? And you can do an adult version of that if you really want to make it functional. But that's the funny thing about our healing that inner maiden part of ourselves. She reminds us that things don't always have to make sense. It doesn't always have to be for a reason or a purpose. It can be for the fun of it. And there's a part of us that really needs to heal this in a collective sense. And one amazing way to do that is to actually play with your own children. If you don't have children, maybe you have nieces and nephews, they always bring me right back to my heart. My son, when he gets going on a giggle fest at the silliest things, I can just be playing with his little dragon and going, I love my baby. And he thinks it's the funniest thing in the whole world. And then I laugh because I think that's so funny that he thinks that's funny. Anyway, but it gets you back into your heart, gets you back into that healing space. That inner maiden will have you giggling and laughing and lighthearted and ready for new things. Like, so jaded as we grow older and we forget that magic is real and that joyful, and we're meant to experience creative, flowing, fun, lighthearted energy. Inner maiden is the one that's like, okay, take a break, let's go play in the rain and jump in puddles and dance and create and get messy, and letting go of what people think, and it's not so serious. It's not so tightly wound up in their identity of who they present to the world and what they're producing and all of this, right? Your inner child self really allows you to be in your free-flowing natural state. One thing that really helps me is talking to one of my childhood friends. We've known each other for oh my gosh, I literally just turned to longevity. I didn't even try to find, I was going to find it, pause the video, but we'll segue back. I can't believe I just did that. I mean, whatever you're trying to create, whether it's, something with a partnership or, creative projects, or, you're cultivating that connection with your inner maiden self, your inner child self, and that energizes and magnetizes these opportunities towards you and connections that maybe you wouldn't have met or places you wouldn't have normally gone. When you write things off, like I've already been here, I've already done that, or I know every single place in this town, I know everything there is to do, blah, 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 dull, 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 then you're really limiting the magic in your life and the opportunity. It's like waking up with a fresh new start, waking up with a fresh mentality. You don't always know how things are going to go. Like when you were a kid and you would wake up with that childlike spirit, that's not naive. That's something that's everlasting within your soul. That's a wise little body that knows there's a deeper meaning to all of this, and it's our conditioned self that tells us that, life is meant to be so small, and it's awesome. It's inspiring, right? So back to my childhood best friend. We like to remind each other all the time that our inner child selves were so wise, that they knew something. And from time to time when life gets tough, we've gone through so many different journeys on our life. Both of our lives have taken us, and we rekindle, we reconnect, and we always bring it back to our inner child selves, that our little maidens that would run around together. And that remembrance, we remind each other, and we always reconnect during these transitional phases in our lives, and it's in our lives. But it's interesting because whenever we do, we just find so much gratitude for them, and that they really knew what they were talking about when they were eating Lucky Charms and saying, we're going to do that when we're little old ladies rocking on our front porches. And I really believe we will. It's so fun to reconnect with someone who knew you when you were a kid. So that's another way to harness that energy and bring it back. So clear quartz crystal is just magical. I mean, it's so simple, right? And we like to complicate everything and go, usually clear quartz, rose quartz, that kind of thing is something that we start with when we start collecting crystals. But I'm being brought back to clear quartz. It's like when you're a little kid and you go on a little hike and you find the rocks and like one is sparkling and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a crystal. It's like that kind of magic, right? Clear quartz. Opalite is another great one for inner child work, inner child healing. It can even help with like a little traumatic energy, that sort of thing. You can work with that. Opalite is really great for creativity. It's a beautiful stone. Then also we have sunstone. Sunstone brings real sunny vibe to our life, positivity, inner child healing, and working with the maiden. And for some reason, well, I do know why, this crystal, this is actually lavender or lilac calcite. It's kind of rare. I found this one in Hawaii. Now, you're not really supposed to take stones off the island, right? But this one was flown in from like some basic place like Ohio or something like that. I don't know if it's Ohio. It's just one of those places. Anyway, so I was in the shop and it was the night before I was leaving to come back to Denver, and I was looking at, all the stones and everything, the metaphysical shop, and I was admiring. This stone is totally flat on the bottom, as you can see. It was just sitting on the shelf, and it wasn't towards the edge. It was just sitting on this glass shelf, and I was looking at everything, and it literally took a tumble off the shelf and landed on my foot, smack dab on my foot. Like, it hurt. It really hurt. And I was like, ow, okay, like, take the message. But I was also wanting to be respectful of the island. I wanted to be respectful of all of that. And so I put the stone back, and this woman who is a local native Hawaiian, she was beautiful. She didn't say anything in the store like the entire time. When you're in a store with somebody and you keep like crossing paths and whatever, and you just like, you smile, but they're kind of like, man, whatever. Well, she looked at me and she went, it's a sign. It's a sign. Like, you need to take that. And I was like, okay, you said so. So anyway, this stone actually, for some reason, is coming to me, maybe because it really helps you connect in a gentle way, but it helps with intuition, psychic abilities. I don't know if this is true, but like intuitively right now I'm hearing astro travel, things like that. Yeah, so that is the lavender calcite. So maybe that resonates with you guys. I hope that this helps you on your journey. If you are going through a moon cycle and you're wrapping up with that crone stage, that crone stage, we're going to do a 4-part series here. So this is the maiden. We're going to do the mother. We're going to do the inner wild woman, aka witch. And we are going to do the crone. So we're starting with maiden. I cannot believe that my baby is still asleep and letting me do this. So hopefully he'll let me carry on. It's another reason why I'm trying to like get it all in. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. Even before I was pregnant, I felt the call to do this. And so I just really hope that it hits and it resonates, and that someone out there takes something from this, takes some inspiration. And you can just meditate. You can use the crystals. You can talk to the fairies. You could go to beach. You could do what you do when you were younger. You could just sit with yourself and ask your inner maiden. Maybe you want to journal. In fact, that's coming to me. Let's do like a couple journaling prompts. Okay, so let's pull a card for, I'm getting like 3 journaling prompts. So we'll just pull 3 cards. And then I'm going to pose some questions for your inner child self, just to get you flowing. We're doing this off the cusp here. Oh gosh. So once you get into a meditative state, the first question is about your inner resilience. And something that is coming to me is how does my inner maiden support me? How does my inner maiden support me? And how can I support my inner maiden more? And then the next question is, how can accessing my inner maiden help me with my own authenticity? And when you're journaling about the authenticity, how can the inner child help you to find your integrity, your intimate expression of yourself? How can accessing my own inner maiden help me with my own authenticity? And then the third one, and this one you might want to really take some time with. What does my inner maiden want to tell me about healing and resolving conflict in my life? This could be a journaling about how to harmonize with others, how to find resolve, how to detach from drama and embrace what really wants to grow in your life, where you've been distracted from your path. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you join us for the other parts of the series. I'm so glad I was able to wrap this up and get this out there. It's been a long time coming. And, don't forget to call on all your magical helpers. Pets want to be included. That just came through. Play with your pets. My little kitty just did a little sneeze to remind me. Play with the pets. Water your plants, talk to the trees, talk to the clouds, see the shape-shifting clouds, talk to the flowers. These are ways that you can really connect with your inner child, your inner maiden. Interchangeable words here. The cherubim are coming to me. You can call in cherubs. Divine helpers that can help you access that inner child. One that's really coming to me is Ostara. Funny that it's coming back to me to say her name right now. Anyway, have a wonderful, joyful, loving life full of synchronicity and fulfillment, and we will catch you back here next time. Peace out.